Oh, I'm just getting home from a photo shoot for Carmen Jones. I'm so glad they still remember me for that. One of the highlights of my life. 1954. You know, my life has had many, many, many ups and downs, and here I am on another one. Another new beginning. Now, let's see, I've got scripts and music to go through, and I've got to pack, and I've got to go through all of these things for my new beginning. But let me start. Let me start at the beginning. My mother's womb. And oh, I'm so glad the doctor gave me a needle for my foot. Don't feel a thing. I can even spin, see? Well, my mother, she left my father, her husband, Cyril Dandridge, when she was 5 months pregnant with me. In 1922, they fought like oil and water. You see, Mommy wanted to be a performing artist, and she really, really didn't want any children. Mama lived with her lover, Geneva Williams, who Viv and me had to call Auntie Mama. She took care of us when Mommy was away. But Viv and me, we spent many nights holding each other and crying ourselves to sleep when Mommy was gone. I don't know much about my father, except that I was told I had his strong forehead and large, deep-set eyes. I did get to meet him when I was 16, when he tried to play catch-up with me. And then later, during the course of my career, we talked at length. Oh, he was a nice man. Short, but nice. Now that lady, Auntie Mama, ooh, she hated us and would beat Viv and me every day. She even sexually abused me. Oh, but I still kept smiling and performing while being abused by her and helping everyone. Dottie, I need this water on stage left when I return, and I need this towel over there, and this and that, and oh, Dottie this and Dottie that, and... But you know, on that stage, my spirit came alive. I had confidence and power, and I was free. And I loved it. I loved to sing, act, and dance, and was great at it.
I love sprinkles from heaven mixed in my blood. Oh, I can sing. Oh, I can dance. I just move my feet just like there's fire on the wing. Oh, I know it's fun, and I'm just begun. I just glow and blossom when I'm dancing, having fun. I fly on gossamer wings. My body becomes like a drum. My troubles behind, they don't matter, as long as I'm on stage with a dance and a song. Love to sing my song. Oh, my mind is free. Watch me sing and watch me dance, and you will smile with me. Love to sing my song, dance and move around. No more scaredy cat, no more this and that. Singing, dancing, I feel free. I feel free. Oh, yes!
One day, Ruby, my mom, she told me she was tired, and she came into the kitchen where I would wait for her every day, so anxious and happy just to take my pointer and my thumb and squeeze it around the hem of her dress and follow her all around the house until she would tell me to stop it or just shrug me away. Well, this afternoon, Mommy came home and she said she was tired and She couldn't do her night job performing. You see, Mommy had a job in the day working for the Social Security people in a big old white building downtown. And at night she had a job performing. Well, I said, Mommy, I can do it. I can do it. Ooh, she was shocked. I had all of her facial expressions, dance moves, and vocal inflections. Seen a money-making opportunity. Auntie Mama and Mama started the Wonder Kids, adding Viv and me to the act. We performed all over the South in many, many churches. Now, that's when all those men began to notice my beauty and sexuality. Oh, they would stare and balk at me as if they wanted to strip me. I hated it. I wasn't even a teenager yet. Oh, but the stage was my escape. On stage, I felt safe and secure, and I was free. I was free from all of the turmoil of Auntie Mama that hung over me while not performing, making me feel like a lost little bird who didn't know where to land. Always seeking approval from others, from my mother, Auntie Mama, my sister Vivian, and friends, and then later from my husbands. Oh yes, I've had 2 so far, and always seeming to find self-worth unattainable while not performing. But when performing, I stopped feeling like a lost little fawn all alone in the woods, wide-eyed and wandering. You know, maybe I was looking for the love I never had with my mother and father. And then later during the course of my life, it seems that just when things were going great and my soul was happy, something would go wrong.
I just wanted someone who would love me true. If you do, then I'd be so good to you. All I ask is for your hand, for you to be my man. Our love, it has no end. When you smile, I get all giggly inside. When you laugh, oh, I just smile until I cry. If you come to me, my love, I swear by stars above, I'll never break your heart or make you. I'll never break your heart. Let's finish what we started. I'll never break your heart. Don't make me cry. Me cry.
Then in 1929, the 4 of us left to come to Los Angeles. Ooh, getting work was hard for Viv and me, especially me, because they told us we were too light. But I did get to work in some of the soundies and talkies like Paper Doll, Easy Street, and yes, indeed, among the, I think there were 9 I did during that time period. Now, I'm 5 years old and a steady performer. Viv and I starred to the Dandridge sisters with our neighbor Etta Jones. We joined the 5 rhythmics, and we worked steadily for 5 years in the ultra-lying cities like Long Beach, Bakersville, Santa Ana, Santa Barbara, all the places that didn't mind the way that we looked. We made our film debut in the big broadcast of 1936 with George Burns, Bill Bojangles Robinson, Gracie Eyre, Jack Oakey, Wendy Baines, Benny Fair at the Paramount Studios. Now, when I traveled to Europe during my life, I felt that freedom again. I loved it. I felt so free, I really felt like a real person. We were considered people there and not a race or a color. Now, you know I'm mixed. My father was Mexican English, and my mother, Ruby Dandridge, she was black. But I never denied my blackness and was always very proud of my race, even writing letters about the racial inequalities in this country. And I even got to introduce Martin Luther King Jr. at one of his public speaking rallies right here in Los Angeles Wrigley Field. Over 50,000 people at what he himself had said was the largest and most enthusiastic rally he'd seen right here. Oh, but I so enjoyed being in Europe. You know, where I really felt like a real person. I felt valued. Now, in New York, that's where I met Mr. Harold Nicholas. He was rehearsing, and when I walked in, I stopped him dead in his tracks. He was really a great dancer. The attraction between us was immediate. He really locked his eyes on me. Just so you know, both Fayard and Harold were interested in me, but Harold won. He got the prize. We performed at the Cotton Club with the Nicholas Brothers, Cab Calloway, Rosetta Tharpe, Jigsaw Jackson, and dancers Timmy Freddy and Benny Brahier, and Bill Bojangles Robinson. Later, Harold began to court me. He'd take me out for long drives and out to dinner. Now, I was only in my teens, so Auntie Mama, she kept her evil, watchful eye stretching for as long as she could. Then I broke from the Dandridge sisters, doing the movie Four Shall Die and a stage production of Meet the People. The Dandridge sisters were over. I performed in a singing engagement with Bing Crosby, Frankie Darrow, who else? Martin Moreland, Sunshine Sammy, and the King Cole Trio for a special Christmas benefit. We gave gifts to the needy children, and oh, I loved being around those beautiful children. I really loved kids, and I always wanted to have more. I'm only in my 40s, my early 40s, so you never know, maybe next year. I performed at the Orpheus Theater with the Floyd Ray Orchestra and the Rayettes, and at the Cafe It in Los Angeles. I was in the film Lady from Louisiana, and I had a role with John Wayne. Then in 1941, I performed with the Nicholas Brothers in 20th Century Fox's Sun Valley Serenade. Ooh, I felt like I was living a dream, singing and tap dancing in a movie with them, in a movie with the Nicholas Brothers. I was over the moon. Pardon me, boys, is this the Chattanooga Choo-Choo? Oh, I had principal parts in 5 movies in 1941. Four Shall Die, The Lady from Louisiana, Sun Valley Serenade, Sundance, and Bahama Passages. Harold, he continued to court me. we'd end up in, ooh, Harold. Oh, don't, oh, yes, you could, yes, just kiss me right there. Oh, yes. We'd end up in hot kisses and embraces, and we decided to get married before it got out of hand. Auntie Mama and Mama were thrilled. Married now. That Auntie Mama, she couldn't touch me anymore. She couldn't glare at me with those eyes. I was free.
I'm happy as can be, 'cause this man, he loves me. And I love him, he makes me spin. Ooh, 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 ooh. How happy we will be. I hope that he can see that love is all, love is pure, love can open any door. This is my dream place to be. When he looks in my eyes, all I do is smile. Then he talks and holds me tight. Ooh, that's good for a while. How happy we will be. Da 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 da. Happy we will be. Oh yeah, happy.
On our wedding night, though, oh, I had so much trouble. You see, it was my first time with a man, and I was very, very young. Harold was trying to make love to his new bride, and I just couldn't. I kept seeing Auntie Mama, remembering those eyes and her taping my breast down and pushing me down on the bed to inspect me. You see, I had gone out with some friends, and there was a young man in the group, and she was so sure I had done something, but no, please, Auntie Mama, no. I promised. Oh, no, Auntie, please. Mommy, Mommy, where are you, Mommy? Mommy. Harold was trying to consummate our marriage, but was faced with a woman with no experience. A woman with traumatic sexual experiences. Finally, frustrated, Harold, well, he turned his back to me, and I lay sobbing quietly. Harold's turning away grew more, and he turned away from our home on 27th Street between Arlington and Cimarron in an almost all-white residential area. Parties and golf games and women became his main objective. You know, sometimes Harold would stay out all night long or come in early the next morning. But he always came home. Eventually.
I sniff his clothes, I miss him. Then I hear him turn the key to the door, and I know he's home, home again for me. Don't know what I'd do if he left me. I might just die on my chair. 'Cause when he comes home, home to see me, I still think our love is here. I still think our love is here. He can't leave me. No, he can't leave me. I might die right here on the chair. 'Cause when he comes home to see me. I still think our love is here. I still think our love.
I became very close with my sister-in-law, Jerry, after a car accident put me in the hospital with a back injury. Ooh, she was smart as a whip. And unlike me, she knew where to tell people where they could go if they were causing trouble for her. She was also very, very intelligent, especially about black issues. So with me not finishing my schooling at Jefferson High and my fantastic memory, oh, I soaked up information from her like a little sponge. And I also felt so much better, much better after I talked to her about Harold and I's problems. Then in March of 1963, of 1943, I found out I was pregnant. Oh, I was so happy. We both were happy for a while. On September 1st, I awoke in great pain, convinced the baby was coming. But Harold, oh, he was so sure it was a false alarm. So after calming me down on the phone with Ruby, he took me to Jerry's house. Then he left, saying he would be back early in the afternoon. Ooh, but not before getting a good scolding from Jerry, who was angry he would leave his wife, knowing the baby might come at any moment. Now, by then we had a car, but Harold's friends, well, they picked him up to play golf, and he didn't even leave the car keys. And I kept thinking to myself, he won't do that. He won't leave his wife knowing the baby might come at any moment. Oh no, he won't leave me. Well, my contractions, they kept getting worse, and Jerry and her sister Rose, they tried to get me to the hospital sooner, but I wanted to wait on Harold. You know, this was our firstborn, and I wanted my husband to be there for the birth of our baby. And Jerry, well, she empathized with me, and so we waited. But when my water bag broke, oh, I was bursting apart inside. I could feel it. I was sweating profusely and calling, Harold. Oh, Harold, why aren't you here? Harold, the baby, it's coming. Where are you, Harold, my sweetheart? Well, we left to go to the hospital. It took Jerry a little less than an hour to find a car, And when we got there, there was another wait. Oh, delivery of my daughter was horrible. You know, they had to use those forceps to help her to come, and oh, those scars. They served as a constant reminder to me. But finally on September 2nd, 1943, at 2:42 a.m., Carolyn arrived. Harold got there a little less than an hour after she was born. Oh, but it was such a joy to finally hold my daughter in my arms for the first time. Oh, and when we left that hospital, those blue skies were just glistening for us. Many friends, family members, and relatives came by to see my beautiful, beautiful daughter. She was perfect, just gorgeous. But then, in 1945, I really became worried about Lynn's behavior. You know, she would scream and cry for no reason all day long. I tried everything. I tried different lighting. I tried different linens. Nothing worked. Nothing. While the Nicholas brothers were away on tour, I took Lynn to see many, many doctors. These visits usually would end up with me sitting in the chair and crying my eyes out, while Lynn would sit or she would stand with that blank, blank stare. And you know, then she would start making those, you know, those little noises she would make. Finally, in 1945, the doctors told me that something happened during the delivery of Lynn, and my daughter would never reach beyond the mentality of a 3-year-old child. Cry, scream all day long. And you know, my daughter, she never even spoke. Not one word. Can you imagine that? To never hear your child speak or say the word mama, mama, or dad. Well, Harold, he couldn't deal with the situation, and he just threw himself into his work and other women. My sadness was really, really getting to me, and I flew to Europe to be with Harold, thinking that would help. Now, I remember Jerry and we walked into the restaurant where Harold was having lunch with friends, and we walked in, and he didn't even acknowledge us. We were nobody to him. I was so hurt and angry. If I could, I would have stomped my foot through that floor. And yes, oh yes, I did. I did take some pills. I did. But Jerry, she found me and she rushed me to the hospital. Oh, Jerry. Oh, my Jerry, I don't know where I'd be without you in my life. You are such an invaluable part of my life. Finally, I realized my marriage had crumbled to nothing, and I had to leave Harold. But I had to keep telling myself this over and over. Dottie, you've got to get out. Get out! I had to tell myself that over and over because I really loved Harold with my heart and my soul. And I so wanted us to be forever in love and together. When you love a man, he can't do no wrong. No, 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 he can't. And your sun sets and rises in his eyes, and you think that you're his only queen, and your heart is always in his hands. When you love a man, you'll see. When you love a man. Oh, I really loved Harold. The divorce wasn't final until years later, after I had exhausted all chances of a reconciliation with Harold. It was final in 1951. In 1948, during the separation from Harold, I began taking classes at the Actors Studio Lab. Now, they were considered communists for taking in students like myself. Anyone was during that time who was involved in any civil rights activities. Even I was, when I was at an event where there were some civil rights leaders present, and I got up and sang. They asked me to sing, so I got up and sang. But a stern, sophisticated letter to Zalznick at 20th Century Fox squashed those rumors that had spread throughout the industry. Now, at the Actors Lab, I met and became close friends with Marilyn Monroe. Oh, she and I were just like sisters and did tons of fun things together. And Marilyn spent many nights sleeping on the white rug beside the fireplace at my Hilldale home after she told me all about her loves, her romances, everything. Anything there was to know about Marilyn Monroe, I knew it, and Peter Lawford knew it. We were like 3 peas in a pod. Now, Marilyn was a little lightheaded, but smart, and had great influence in the industry. She even started her own film production company with her photographer. I think his name was Middleton or Middleman. Oh, yes. They made lots of money off of her back. I continued my relationship with Phil Moore, and my career took an upturn when I met Earl Mills at one of Phil Moore's Sunday musicals at his home. You see, Phil would have these wonderful musicals at his home where he had a large brown stretch baby grand piano, and hors d'oeuvres would be flying and champagne flowing, and people would come and do skits and dance and sing, and oh, it was such a joyful time. You know, when I'm back on my feet and I'm able to purchase my own home, I'm going to have events like that at my house. Well, Earl Mills, he heard me sing and decided to manage my career. I had just finished Harlem Globetrotters and Tarzan's Perils, and then later in 1953, oh, Bright Road, one of my favorite films to do. I just loved being around those beautiful children. And you know, they were around the same age that Lynn was at the time. And Harry Belafonte, he wasn't too hard on the eyes either. But with all of that, there still were no roles for actors like me, who didn't want to play the slave roles or the slapstick comedy they were throwing at us. With signing up with Earl Mills, I began to work more. Now, I think, with this dress, let me look at these dresses again. I have this, yes. Aha, but this dress right here, I think I need to try this one on because I had it on a few weeks ago and it was a bit snug for me. So, let me try this dress on. Oh, I'm so glad it still fits me and it looks great. After the divorce from Harold, my bills from taking care of Lynn were mounting up and I had other expenses. Harold was ordered by the court to pay me $300 per month in child support, and he was in months in arrears with me to the tune of over $8,000 worth. I was performing in clubs in Las Vegas and Los Angeles, and things were still segregated. I played at the Biltmore, Macombo, the Empire Room, just to name a few, and was the first black entertainer to headline at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York. Of course, after demanding that blacks be allowed to go and do and sit and be wherever they wanted to in that fine establishment. Then I heard about the director, Otto Preminger, directing and producing the film Carmen Jones with an all-black cast, the first of its kind to be done in brilliant Technicolor. Now, getting the leading role in this film was a pivotal point in my career. By now, 1954, the industry still had not created dramatic roles for black actresses. I was going to change that, and the time was now. For my next appointment with Otto, I sashayed into his office in a sultry outfit and a short, sassy wig. Otto's jaw dropped. I got the part!
Here I shine again, ready to take that vow. Of all the times I needed strength, I got it now. Here I shine again, shining my name on the line. Been down a bit, but now I'm ready to shine. Was down in the dungeon, left all alone in the dark. But now I have risen, this song I sing from my heart. Here I shine again, after the gloom is through. I shine, I'm coming back. My heart is full of love and that I'm shining like I always knew I could shine. I could shine for you and you and you and you and you. Remember that the time is now. Yes!
Some of the all-black cast members were Pearl Bailey, who I befriended on the set of Carmen, Joe Adams, Diane Carroll, and many others. And oh, wait a minute, Harry. Harry Belafonte, like me, was not allowed to sing his parts. We had to lip-sync them. But you know, I could have sang those parts. Even my vocal coach told me I could have sang them. They were at just a little higher register than my voice. And you know the woman, Miss Horn, who was working on the music, she listened to my recordings over and over to get the music. But nevertheless, I continued with the film. Carmen's production began in April. Oh, yes, April of 1954, the time of new beginnings. You know, my sister, she was happy for me. We had a love-hate relationship, but I always looked out for her, and she looked out for me. I also found out in April of 54 that Peter Lawford, Peter was marrying Patricia Kennedy. So that meant our love affair, our secret love affair, would end. You know, I truly, truly loved Peter, and he loved me, but his family and this racist society prevented us from marrying and progressing in our careers. Then I began to hear about all of the rumors spreading through our community about me, a black woman, portraying this sultry, seductive, Carmen role. And then jealousy from friends and others. Oh, I got so tense and stressed, I just stayed in my apartment. But one visit from Otto and encouraging words from Earl Mills convinced me to continue with the role. And Otto and I's professional friendship, well, it turned into love and a long relationship. Otto gave me everything I needed: clothes, money, and love. He had two taboos, though. He was white and married. And even with the negative vibes I kept getting from my sister Vivian, I still always thought Otto and I would be married. He bought me a home on Avonview Drive, a place that I loved, where I entertained with many, many distinguished guests. And through all of this, we had to keep our love a secret. Oh well, we tried to anyway. Blow out the candles so no one will know who's been kissing me. Darling dear, oh, such a happy time for me. All the magazines had me on their front covers: Paris Match, Photo Play. And I became the first black entertainer to be on the front cover of the Life magazine in 1954. Photographers were shooting me everywhere, all over the world, professional photographers. They just couldn't keep their eyes off me. Dottie in Paris, Dottie in Spain, Dottie is in Milan. Oh, everywhere I went.
Each time I walk their way, their eyes begin to say, there goes the girl who shows the world just how to get her way. Oh, such a wonderful feeling. Oh, this is so appealing, to have them see me now and have them take a bow, because they all adore me and can't seem to ignore me. When I walk through the town, there's a sparkle in the air. So please don't you bore me. Good things coming for me. Whenever I'm near. Whenever I'm near, that's where it's at. Yes!
Carmen opened many doors for me. I was the first black industry professional to get a 3-year contract with Fox. One film per year, starting at $75,000 to escalate to $125,000 per film. Carmen also led to me being the first black actress to be nominated for an award in a leading role. Oh, I was over the moon. Nothing was gonna stop me. Then I refused the role offered to me by Fox in The King and I, at Otto's request. But I really didn't want to play the part of a slave. We were trying to get away from us playing those types of roles. I even told my publicist, Boston, that. Boston, I can't. No, I won't. No, I won't, Boston. I just can't. I can't do it. No films came my way until 1957. Island in the Sun. And oh, such a controversial film. I became the first black actress in America to star in a film with a white romantic leading role partner. But because of the racism in this country, we weren't allowed to kiss. Only light, very light touching. Oh, I was paid $75,000 for that film, but such a stressful time. Many projects ended in dead-end deals, projects like Sloan, blues opera, remake of Barbara de Seville, all a part of Otto's promised work for me. Otto and I parted, but not before me getting pregnant and having an abortion. I didn't want to keep his child. He wasn't marrying me. Such a terrible time for me. I wish I'd listened. After getting no film work and desperation for money, I continued to perform in clubs in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. You know, I would have loved to have done more than the 41 films I've done so far, but there were none. Nick Burrito, a wonderful music director and accompanist, was a very, very good friend who helped me and lifted my mural during this period. Then I filmed Porgy and Bess, and Otto, being the director by default, of course, was a horrible experience for me. He screamed and shouted directions at the actors and treated them and me like dirt. Oh, I felt like throwing up every time I came to work. He bullied me on set, visibly and physically on set. I remember after the filming the rape scene with Brock Peters, I remember I left the studio with black and blue bruises all up and down my arms from him pushing and pulling on me. But I made it through and played Bess anyway, even getting a Golden Globe Award nomination for my portrayal of Bess. So it was back to performing in clubs again. The Macombo, the Biltmore, the Waldorf Astoria, the Riviera Hotel. Now, while performing at the Riviera Hotel, I met maitre d' Jack Dennison. Now, this hotel, the same hotel that emptied their pool, fearful that Mia, can I start there again? Now, the Riviera Hotel, the same hotel that emptied their pool, fearful that me, a black woman, would swim in it. Well, I have to admit I did call the front desk to let them know how hot I was and how a dip in the pool would be just splendid. After they told me the pool was closed and I saw people swimming in it. Well, that's where I met maitre d' Jack Dennison. Oh, he was a handsome, graying man with all the smoothness and charm. He charmed his way into my heart with his good looks and splendid manners. I guess he did own up to his hidden intentions, which were to use me and my money. Now, I was making great money when we married in 1959. I even gave him money to open up a restaurant on Sunset Boulevard before we got married. But once married, he proceeded to run me into the ground, financially, emotionally, and physically. Our home, oh no, my home on View Site was a war zone with 2 enemies in it. I'm so glad I didn't put his name on that deed. Jack was extremely abusive, causing me grave bodily and emotional harm, even putting me in the hospital at one point. I filed a restraining order on Jack, and he was ordered to leave my house. The divorce was final 1 year later in 1961. Jack, of course, continued to try to see me via messages from my dear, dear friend Herb Jeffries. But I never would talk or see him again. Never in my life. This, of course, stopped when he found out I was broke. Oh yes, I had to file for bankruptcy, and 1962, and I had to move from my house. I practically built that house from the ground up. I designed it just the way I wanted it. The den where I could sit and listen to albums and study. And, they featured me in an article in Ebony magazine, in Ebony or Jet, I think. And I'm sitting there in my den with my beige shade carpet around the same color as this carpet. And I'm sitting there with my toes pointed like I always did, and I'm sitting straight up, and I've got my 3 square pillows beside me. I think it was an orange one, a brown one, and a beige one. I always kept my toes pointed and my back straight and my head cocked back. My sister Vivian, she would tell people, my sister Dorothy, she works 24 hours a day at being a star. Well, the den, and then all the way to the top floor with a wonderful master bedroom and bath and beautiful balcony where you could go out and have a drink or have breakfast or just go out and look and see all of the other homes around in your area. Yes, I had to move away from my house and move to a smaller house on Norman Place. Yes, and my dear friend Jerry, she was right there with me all the time, right there by my side. Also, in 1962, my dear, dear friend, Marilyn Monroe was found dead. Soon after her breakup with President Kennedy. She told me. She told me when she was going to go and break up with him, but she wanted to go alone. But now she was gone. She's dead. Here it is, 1965, and I still miss her. We were so close. In some ways, Marilyn and I, we were the same in many, many ways, We both were sexually abused as children, and we both were always seeking approval from others. We both achieved great success in the industry, in film and recordings, but she, of course, had more clout and more leverage due to the racism in this country. But before Elizabeth Taylor got that high-paying role of Cleopatra, I was asked before she got that role, and I became the first black actress, the first black all-white actress in this industry to make $300,000 a year in 1959. Oh no, I didn't let my breakup with Otto stop me. I kept on working. I did. Also in 1962, Helen Calhoun, who had been taking care of my daughter Lynn, she sent her back to me on the train. Oh, I remember Jerry and we went to the train station to pick Lynn up at 2 a.m. in the morning. My baby was coming back. I was so happy and excited. Oh, but it was such a disaster for me. I just couldn't handle Lynn. She pounded on the piano all day long, and she had this great strength and power and determination. It nearly drove me crazy. Finally, Jerry and her legal friends, they helped me to take care of Lynn, and I went to court to do that. But I remember going to get a glass of water, and I just I just collapsed. My feet and legs just gave way beneath me. They had to pull me up by my arms to get me standing again. And I was so ashamed. I felt so ashamed when they sent my Lynn, my only daughter, to the Camarillo Institution of California. Oh, that place, with its immaculate manicured lawns and bright red, yellow, and orange flowers. But inside that place was a dungeon. I would throw up every time I went there, and I tried. I did. I tried to go as much as I could. Oh, Lynn, it's Mommy. It's Mommy, Lynn. Oh, please see me, Lynn. I'm here. I'm here for you, Lynn. Oh, don't go. Don't turn. Oh, it's Mommy, Lynn. Oh, Lynn. I failed again. I failed with my marriage. And now I fail with my Lynn. She didn't even know I was there. Oh. Then I bounced back. Yes, in 1964, some work came in. From my manager, Earl Mills, Puerto Rico, Tokyo, Mexico. I was working again. But every penny I made went to the IRS. Finally, my lawyers fought for my case with the IRS and won. They convinced them that I was ill and broke. So they put me in the dead file. Then an oil well drilling scam left me nearly penniless, and I had more debts that I couldn't pay. Oh, I was hurting and sad and so lonely. But something inside of me, right here, just kept me going on. But then I had no money and no work. And I did my first autobiography, Everything and Nothing. Then I had to move to a smaller apartment on Fountain Avenue in West Hollywood. Now, Marilyn had lived there before, and Marilyn and I had spent many, many sunny afternoons just sitting on the outside steps and talking about our lives and dreams and goals and all of the little babies we would have, especially me. My manager, Earl, got me a job performing at the Flamingo, where Nancy Wilson was starring in the main ballroom, and I had the lounge with a 7-piece band. Oh, no. No orchestra for the first black actress nominated for an award in a leading role. Oh, I felt so embarrassed and hurt. I drank to get through the sets, and I made it through with special help from dear friend Nick Burrito. You know, there were some times where I would miss my cue, and him being the music director, he would tell the band to keep on playing and come back and get me from my dressing room. Usually he would find me slumped over a chair and just out of it, or maybe I had just thrown up, and I was doing a lot of that at that time in my life. And he would get me back together and get me on stage to perform for those wonderful, wonderful audiences. Well, I finished the engagement there at the Flamingo with his help, and also with help from the Flamingo owner, who had taken a liking to me. Then I returned to Los Angeles, And I did a musical presentation of Showboat, and I played the part of Julie with pretty good reviews. But then, with no work and no money, I began to get depressed. The prescription prescribed Troutman mixed with the alcohol gave me a puffy face and body. I have to admit, I really, really did look terrible, and people began to worry about me, especially my manager Earl, and he would stop by and see me whenever he could, and just to check on me. He even had his own key. He would especially come in to see me when Ruby, my mother, would call him and ask him to, because people would see me swaggering on the sidewalk or begging the bands to sing a song, and they would call her and let her know, and he would come and check on me at her wishes. But you know, when I got up on that stage, I could feel that liquid sunshine just cruising through my veins and making my heart pound and my eyes sparkle, and you know, I still had that little move that everybody liked to see me do on stage. Well, Fayard and Harold came by, and they came by to see me. Otto came by as well. He wouldn't even touch me. Now, I knew he would have given me money, but I didn't want nothing from him. I hoped he would see me and feel guilty. Him and that Jack Jennison. Jack forcing me to work in his club night after night after night. And every night I stepped on that stage, my value in film went down, 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 down. And you, Otto, they waited for me to take the part. They waited and waited, and they kept calling and calling, and you told me not to take it. Your career accelerated, and I lost mine. Oh, I should never have listened to you. Oh, what a fool I was. I was such a fool. What a fool I was. Oh, what a fool I was to listen to your word. What a lame excuse of a mind I had. When you talked, my whole body went to mush. I get so lost in you. You made me forget who I am. Oh, what a fool I was to love you. Now I see just what a fool I am. I am. In April of 1965, I bounced back. Oh yes, always in April, the time of new beginnings. I began to feel better again. Some more work came in. Joe Glasser, who was determined to rebuild my career, got me a gig to perform at the New York club Basin Street East Grill that was to start on September 10th, the beginning of a long engagement. My manager Earl got me a gig performing in the carnival room of the Sheraton Hotel. I began taking dance classes and exercise classes to build up the stamina for the lineup of shows I was doing. I also still went out on auditions for speaking parts for commercials. Now, I remember bumping into Nichelle, and I remember holding her by the sides of her face and giving her a kiss good luck. You know, I always tried to help my friends. I always did. I helped Billie Holiday quite a lot. She and I were close friends. When the cops were hot on her trail, Billie would stay at my apartment and I'd literally spoon feed Billie and give her clothes and dresses and money and here, Billie, here's some soup, here's some cereal. Here, Billie. There you go. Yes, open up your mouth. Yes, there. Yes. But you know, Billie didn't even know what was going on. Oh, I always tried to help my friends, and I never wished ill on anybody, on anyone in the industry. But they always wished ill on me, all of the time. Then in a few days, things began to look even better. Through my manager, Earl, I was contracted to star in a film in Mexico. $50,000. Contracts were signed, I's dotted, T's crossed. Another new beginning for me. While working out at the gym, I tripped going down the stairs, and I didn't think anything of it. I just kept going. But on the trip to Mexico to meet with producers and directors about the film, the pain persisted. I saw a doctor there, they x-rayed it, and she advised me to get a cast put on it as soon as I returned to the U.S. Once in the U.S., this was confirmed with a bone specialist, and I was set to get the cast put on it the next day, tomorrow. And guess what? While meeting with producers and directors in Mexico about the one film, they upped the ante from 1 to 2 films at $50,000 each. Oh, I better hurry up and get ready. I've got a big day tomorrow, and Earl is picking me up very early the next morning. Let me pack some more clothes and get these suitcases together and organize some more of this music and gowns and, I think I need to take some coats and gloves and, for my big day. And, I'm a bit tired and I better get to bed. I think I better hit the sack. Let me get some water. Yes. I heard Earl. I heard him. I heard him knocking on my door, but he shouldn't have any trouble getting in. He had his own key. And I didn't put that chain lock on my door. Who used a chain lock on Fountain Avenue in West Hollywood, 1965? I didn't. Then I heard Earl come back, and he busted my door open with a tire iron and was running through my apartment calling me, Dorothy, Dottie, Dorothy, where are you? Dorothy, Dottie. Oh, Dorothy. No, Dottie, Dorothy, Dottie. And then he stopped and was saying my name over and over and over again. But I didn't wake up. You know, I visited Jerry in a dream once, and she asked me, she said, Dottie, are you okay? Are you sure you're all right? And I said, with a smile. Oh, yes, Jerry. Absolutely. You see, Jerry, up here, there's nothing for me to cry about.